A man wanted to build a house, but unexpectedly dug out an ancient tomb. He thought he could make a small fortune, but unexpectedly, the tomb owner came to him at night. Li Zhongping was a little puzzled. In the middle of the night, why was this person dressed so strangely? When he saw it was a Bang Bang, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. The monster looked quite romantic. He hugged his neck and kissed him. After hearing Zhang Dapo's story about the monster, Lao Yanhu asked Hong Yadu to prepare tools. The two prepared to catch the monster. They ran nearly 100 miles in a gust of wind. They arrived in less than half an hour. When they arrived, it wasn't dark yet. There was no one on the street. Zhang Dapao didn't dare to delay. He led the old smoker to the old Chinese doctor's house. When they entered the room, 3 people were tied to the kang. Each of them was grinning and glaring and running snot. Looking at the wounds of the 3, it really looked like it was bitten by a rat. Lao Yanhu followed the method taught by his 7th uncle. Asked someone to find some glutinous rice to apply on the wounds. After that, he asked someone to lead the way. He planned to take a look at the ancient tomb first. On the way, he wanted Situ to help, but they didn't get a response after calling several times. Probably not online. The 2 stood by the ancient tomb and looked inside. There was no one in the coffin. He asked several young men to spread a fishing net. At night, he drove the Bang Bang over and used the net to cover it. After dinner, the 2 climbed to the highest water tower in the village, waiting for the Bang Bang monster to appear. They waited until past 10 o'clock. There were a few barks of dogs in the village. They could see clearly from above. The Bang Bang monster had already arrived at Li Zhongping's door. Before the old smoker climbed down, Hong jumped down with a plop. She ran to the bouncing monster, pointing at his nose and started cursing. "Hey, little Bang Bang! Your red ant is here. Get out of here!" The monster looked back and saw a little girl and pounced on her. Hong dodged by squatting down. Then she swung her knife at Bang Bang, but Bang Bang dodged it flexibly. The old smoker was stunned. "Hey, why is this Bang Bang so flexible?" Bouncing saw that this girl was not easy to deal with, so it turned around and jumped into the yard. Hong followed closely and also climbed onto the wall. But she was too short to climb up. She was struggling to climb up. Lao Ansha told him to go through the gate. When he went in, Bang Bang was chasing Li Zhongping's family like a hawk catching a chick to keep Li Zhongping's family from running around. Lao Yanhu told everyone to get out of the way and raised his gun to shoot. The monster jumped back when it heard the shout. The bullet hit the wall. The old smoker fired 2 more shots. The monster jumped through the window and escaped. Hong girl was about to chase it, but was stopped by the old smoker. He always felt something was wrong. He asked Li Zhongping's family what happened. Li Erping said that the bouncing monster asked for money and even imitated it. When the old smoker heard that, "What? This thing can even speak." At this time, Hong also found a blood stain on the kang. It should be the 2 shots that hurt the bouncing monster. The old smoker couldn't help laughing. A jumping ghost that bleeds and talks, which was the first time he had heard of. The 2 followed the blood trail all the way, but when they reached the edge of the village, the bloodstain disappeared. They went to the edge of the ancient tomb, looked into the pit, but Bang Bang didn't come back. The old smoker called the man hiding in the tree to ask. The young men were freezing and had snot running down, claiming they didn't even see a Bang Bang. The old smoker thought it was not right, so he went back to check. A group of people came to the place where the blood disappeared and found that there was only one family nearby. The villagers said he was a bit withdrawn and arrogant, and didn't like to interact with others. Hearing this, the smoker, he had to go in and have a look. But when the people inside heard the noise outside, began cursing and asking them to leave. But the old smoker didn't care. He led people into the house. Zhang San hid in the corner of the kang, pointed at the smoker's nose and started cursing. But the old smoker didn't care, and asked a few young men to look around. Soon, a young man found an ancient official uniform. Zhang San explained that it was his costume, but it obviously hadn't been washed for hundreds of years. With a strong smell of corpse, the old smoker didn't hold back and pulled open his quilt. There was indeed a wound on his leg, and it looked like it was bandaged with steel. Zhang San wanted to explain, saying that he accidentally scratched himself. The angry girl jumped onto the Kang and was about to stab him. Zhang San knew how powerful this girl was. He cried and said that he had killed Bang Bang. Both of them were surprised. After they calmed down, they began to tell the story. He said one morning, he was practicing his voice in the yard. The gate was suddenly knocked open. He turned around and saw it was the legendary Bang Bang monster. The monster started chasing him for a hug and forced him to the corner. He grabbed the stick at the door and hit it hard and beat the bouncing monster into a crooked-mouthed god of war. But what he didn't expect was that the stick hit. The Bang Bang was no longer moving. Zhang San looked at the Bang Bang on the ground, suddenly remembered the story of the Li brothers. So he put on the clothes of a Zongzi and wanted to extort some money from the Li brothers. But unexpectedly, he met the two. The old smoker did as he said, and really found the bouncing bug in the backyard, and immediately had it carried out and burned. The old smoker picked up the door stick and took a closer look, and found it was the fire and water stick from the yamen. The stick had absorbed a lot of blood and flesh. No wonder it could knock Bang Bang down in one go. After burning the jumping ghost, the two were ready to go back, but were stopped by a woman. This was an unprecedented card game. Laoyan against Lao Dugu. And the stakes was a man. This man came back from his ex-girlfriend's wedding. He changed his temperament, but also became obsessed with gambling, but also beat and scolded his mother. The mother had no choice, so she asked the smoker for help. The lady said her son Li Ping used to be very filial, but suddenly changed his temperament, but also became addicted to gambling, but also lost all the money at home, and even sold off the valuable things. The rich man begged his son not to gamble anymore, but was punched and kicked instead. One day, his son was about to go out. There was a sudden thunder outside the door. He seemed to see a dark shadow proud out of his body. Then his son turned back into his former docile self. The rich man asked his son what happened. It turned out that his son went to his ex-girlfriend's wedding and then headed back. On the way, he passed a grove and met some people who invited him to play cards. He didn't know how to play. He politely declined and was about to leave, but the man suddenly appeared beside him and put his arm around his shoulder. The man suddenly approached him. He felt a chill. He couldn't remember what happened next. Since then, his son would become like a gambler every time he woke up. While they were talking, they heard the gate being kicked open. It was the rich man's son Li Ping who came back. Li Ping saw a horse in the yard and thought of selling the horse back. The old smoker squinted and saw Li Ping indeed had a ghost behind him. The old smoker didn't hesitate and directly scolded the gambler not to be too presumptuous. But the gambler didn't appreciate it and tried to strangle him. Hong fired a shot into the sky, which scared the gambler to withdraw his hand. The old smoker wanted to persuade him to leave quickly, but the gambler said he wanted to bet with the smoker. If the old smoker wins, he would leave Li Ping's body obediently. He asked the old smoker to go to the cemetery at night, and then went into the house to sleep. Hong wanted to send him to the west, but the old smoker was worried about hurting Li Ting. The two turned around and went to the commune and bought things they needed for the night. At night, the old smoker went straight to Dongshan Cemetery. When he got closer, the gambler had called two helpers. One was mindless, and the other was unhappy. They all smiled wickedly, as if they were sure to win. The smoker didn't care. He sat cross-legged on the ground and asked what to play. The gambler told him to play the legendary 21. The old smoker had played this game before. Each person has 3 cards. The one whose total points are close to 21 wins. The gambler started dealing the cards. Let me make it clear to you. I have God's blessing. If anyone cheats, he will be struck by lightning. The 3 didn't take the old smoker seriously. The gambler got 19 points and was unhappy to draw 20 points. The smoker counted his points. Exactly 21 points. The gambler felt something was wrong. when he saw that Mindless also had 21 points. He felt relieved. The old smoker said that Mu Tuling cheated. He changed the cards as soon as he finished speaking. There was a thunder. Mei Tu now was killed immediately and went straight to the west. The remaining two were scared green. Their hands holding the cards were shaking. Before the second round of cards was compared, unhappy, he shouted that he would not play. He threw the cards on the table and ran away. The old smoker opened the card and it was 21 again, but the gambler thought he was cheating. I have nothing in my life. Only luck left. Do you want to admit defeat? Or get struck by lightning? He knew the old man in front of him was not easy to mess with. He obediently got out from under Li Ping. But the gambler was still not giving up. He also threatened before leaving, saying that when the old smoker left, he would still find Li Ping. The old smoker also expected that the gambler wouldn't give up. Fortunately, Hong Girl was observing in secret and found the gambler's hometown. She took out the prepared ink line and tied a cross on the grave and directly sealed the guy inside. On the way back, Hong took out the remaining firecrackers, lit them and threw them into the tin bucket. The sound of the firecrackers echoed in the tin bucket. It really sounded like thunder. The old man and his granddaughter walked for a while. They felt someone was following them. The old smoker invited the person out to see. It was an old woman with no teeth, and a little boy was following her. And behind the child was the Shui Huo Wu King stick. The old woman grinned, asking if he had seen the Shui Huo Wu King Yi. The old smoker grinned too. No. Then he took Hong and was about to leave. But when he turned around, and in a flash, the old woman teleported in front of them. Hong was a little annoyed, so she went up and scolded her. The old woman reached out and touched the girl's head, as if she liked Hong very much. The old man and the girl left quickly. The old woman didn't stop them anymore, but she showed a wicked smile. All the way home, the red girl didn't say a word. The old smoker thought she fell asleep, so he wanted to wake her up, but Hong fell off the horse and passed out. And fell to the ground, passing out. The little girl had a fever of over 40 degrees, but the genius doctor said only 1,000-year-old ice could cure her. Just now, an old man and a young girl were preparing to go home, but was stopped by an old woman. The old woman thought the girl was pretty. She touched her head. But when they got home, they found that Hong was already in a coma. The old smoker had no choice. He could only call out his Shitu to see. Situ knew at once, saying it was not just a common fever, but poisoned, and pulled out a poisonous needle from her head. Being pricked by this poisonous needle will cause high fever until the body's water is exhausted. The old smoker remembered the old woman he met in the woods. The old woman had touched Han Yatu's head, that she must have poisoned her. When the old smoker mentioned the old woman, Situ also knew. Situ said the old woman's surname was Kai, and made a living by making paper figurines, and learned some evil arts from somewhere, and began to harm others. And finally she was also deeply affected. Every day was like being burned by fire, and the only thing that can save him and Hong Yatu is the Millennium Ice. But the 1,000-year-old ice is not something ordinary people can get. The old woman must have known that Liao Yanhu had the Shuhu WQNG, and then wanted to use the old smoker's luck to help her get the 1,000-year-old ice. While they were discussing, the old woman came, saying she wanted to do business with the old smoker. Fuck you. I'll shoot you, you old bastard. If you kill me, your daughter will be dead. Seeing that the old smoker was a bit excited, and hurriedly advised him to calm down and asked Granny Kai for more time. Getting the 1,000-year-old ice is not easy. Granny Kai only gave him 2 days. If he can't get the 1,000-year-old ice, Hong will die. When he left the fire and water merciless stick to the smoker, saying it was needed for him to get the ice. After Kai left, Ci2 asked Laoyan to send messages to Jinli and Zhongda, and then asked Lao Wan the fireproof sheets that the old smoker brought back last time into clothes. When everything was ready, Ci2 assigned tasks to everyone. The 1,000-year-old ice is deep in a cave's pool. There were wolves guarding the entrance, and the wolves were dealt with by Zhang Da. Jinli was responsible for escorting Liao Yanhu out of the pool, and also pay attention to the earth dragon in the water. At night, the three of them and a horse, they rushed towards the mountain 100 miles away. When they arrived, there were wolves guarding the entrance. The alpha wolf had a scar on its eye. Zhang Da joked, which looked a bit like the smoker. Seeing that the joke was not funny, he directly broke a big tree as a weapon. He rushed into the wolves. Zhang Da swung the stick like crazy. After a set of radio gymnastics, only the Wolf King was left. At this moment, the Wolf King raised his head and roared, and many more wolves appeared above. Until they were ambushed, Zhang Da was not paying attention and was attacked, and bit his shoulder. Zhang Da felt pain, grabbed the Wolf King's scalp and threw him out. The Wolf King got up and wanted to come again, but was persuaded back by the old smoker with a shot. The old smoker covered them and retreated into the cave. Zhang Da lost too much blood and couldn't fight for long, so he used stones to block the entrance. When it was sealed, and then sat on the ground to rest. Jinli led the old smoker to the pool mentioned by Situ. Laoyan put on the water and fire clothing modified by his wife. Then he handed the old smoker his life-saving pill, saying it could allow Lao Yanhu to breathe freely underwater. Lao Yanhu held the inner pill and jumped into the water with the ruthless stick on his back. The water was bottomless. They kept diving for dozens of meters. They saw a turn and swam for dozens of meters, and they saw a sudden opening. They found light above their heads, where the 1,000-year-old ice was hidden. Just then, several rushed up from behind. Lao Yanhu was about to join the battle, but was stopped by the koi. Hong Yatu was in danger. It's most important to get the ice first. Lao Yanhu swam upstream, but the water temperature got lower and lower. To avoid freezing his face, he took out a bikini and put it on his head. When he came out of the water, when he took off the headgear, he was confused. There are ice cubes everywhere. Which one should he take? As he walked forward, the old smoker felt a chill on his neck. He turned around. Oh my God, 2 icemen were behind him and were about to hit him. The smoker dodged and smashed them with 2 sticks. Are these ice cubes turned into monsters? The smoker has seen many strange things, but he had never seen an Iceman before. He glanced aside. He saw another one emerging from the wall and raised his stick to hit. The Iceman knew the old man's stick was powerful, so he begged for mercy. Before the old smoker asked a few questions, the man was so scared that he said everything. He pointed, saying there was an ice mother. The 1,000-year-old ice was in the ice mother's belly. Then he led the old smoker to an ice passage. He told the old smoker he could only go this far. There were ice swords and ice knives inside, and threw it to see the ice mother. But be careful of the security guard. The smoker didn't waste any words. He strode into the ice passage. But after a few steps, ice thorns suddenly grew from under his feet. The old smoker took a step back, almost being cut in two. Before he could stand still, a weapon protruded from under his butt, heading straight for the place where he excretes. The smoker swung his stick horizontally, breaking the weapon. Before he could curse, 2 more arrows shot from the side. He ducked his head. A talisman fell from above his head. Seeing no place to hide, Laoyan did an extreme backflip and smashed the talisman with a stick. Seeing that the stick was useful, so he simply stopped dodging. He swung and smashed all the way, and he broke through the ice passage. He just took a few breaths. He looked up and was stunned. In front of him was a huge ice bed, on which a woman was sleeping. Her abdomen was bulging, as if she was pregnant. Lao Yan was about to go up and get the ice, but was surrounded by 2 large ice slips. This woman has been sleeping for thousands of years, and she also gave birth to a baby. She is the source of all water here. Without her, the area within 100 miles will be doomed. But the smoker doesn't care about it. He just wants to take the 1,000-year-old ice back to save his daughter. Just as he was about to start, he was entangled by 2 ice stalactites. The smoker was a little confused when he saw the 2 icicles. How can I beat them? The ice demon didn't say a word and hit him with a stick. The old smoker hit it with the water and fire stick. The 100-year-old ice stick actually cracked. The ice demon was shocked. He didn't expect the stick to have such power. Now the old smoker felt confident and swung the stick back. The ice demon tried to block it with his ice stick, but was smashed to pieces by the old smoker. The ice demon behind took the opportunity and smashed the old smoker with the ice stick. The old smoker didn't dodge. He used a move called Autumn Wind Sweeps and smashed both of them with one swing. Before the ice demon could react, he hit his waist with another stick and directly smashed him into two pieces. The old man was eager to save his daughter. "I'm sorry." Seeing his companion fall, the other ice demon also became ruthless. He swung his stick and hit him. The old smoker hit him with a stick, breaking his arm, and swept his leg with a sweep. Both ice demons fell to the ground. The old smoker took the opportunity to run to the ice bed, but was caught by his ankle before he ran a few steps. The old smoker was anxious to save the red girl. He smashed the ice mother's head with a stick. The old smoker jumped on the ice bed. He looked at the sleeping ice mother. He couldn't bear to do it for a moment. But to save Hong Yatu, he had no choice. He raised his stick to strike. "Don't hurt the ice mother. She is the source of water here. Without her, the water source within 100 miles will dry up. I must get the 1,000-year-old ice to save my daughter." 1,000-year-old ice is formed by the ice mother for thousands of years. Ordinary people can't use it at all. Both of our ice crystals are over 100 years old. Which is enough for you? Please don't hurt the ice mother. Can you cure the poison of the vegetable mother? Of course. We offer our ice hearts. I beg you to spare the ice mother. The ice demon leaned back, and his body cracked into ice shards. An ice crystal fell out of his heart. The old smoker didn't want to provoke these spiritual beings, but he had no choice but to save his daughter. He excitedly put the ice crystal in his arms. He didn't dare to delay. He ran back along the ice path. But as soon as he entered the water, he saw a large area of blood red. He thought the red boy had met with an accident, until he saw the bodies of two earth dragons. He was relieved. Without the obstruction of the earth dragons, the old smoker successfully surfaced. Jingli and Zhangda had been waiting for a long time, and they both looked badly injured. Leoyan worried about the hungry wolves outside the cave. Jinli said that the wolves had some kind of contract with the ice demon. With the ice heart, the old smoker, the wolves shouldn't be difficult. Then Zhangda moved the boulder at the entrance. The wolves reluctantly made way for them. The three hurried home, but they were shocked when they entered the house. They saw the old woman sitting cross-legged on the kang, smoking a dry pipe. "Old witch, how dare you come to my house?" Granny Kai grinned widely. "You came back quite quickly." The old smoker really wanted to shoot her, but Hong's life depends on the old woman's help, so he could only endure it. The old smoker handed Bing Xin to Kai's wife and asked her to quickly detoxify Hong girl. When the old lady saw Bing Xin, her eyes widened, which was also her lifeline. She was afraid that the old smoker would do something, so she tried it on Hong Yatu first. She put her hands together and chanted a spell. As Bing Xin gradually melted, Hong Yatu also woke up, seeing that it worked, and couldn't wait to put the remaining piece on her own forehead, and sat on the ground to start practicing. She trembled all over, and white steam was coming out. Seeing that Hong Yatu was fine, he instantly became murderous. "Old witch, today I will let you leave here alive. I'll write my surname Yang upside down." Several men punched and kicked the old woman. Anyone would be outraged. But if they knew what the old woman had done, they would all understand. When the old smoker saw Hongya woke up, he didn't plan to let the old woman leave alive. While she was healing, they surrounded the two of them. Seeing the old woman in danger, the little paper man next to her rushed forward. "Little brat, how dare you stand up? I can make you pee with one punch." Zhang Da swung his fist to hit, but missed the target. When Zhang Da turned around to look, the paper man kicked him. Although the paper man has thin arms and legs, it really hurts when it kicks you. Before Zhang Da could react, the paper man punched him again. And the speed is extremely fast, and punched hundreds of times in an instant. Even though Zhang Da was tall and strong, he was still beaten up. Why is this little paper man so powerful? CI2 said it was the old lady's paper skin technique. It's not easy to deal with, but it's afraid of fire. We should use fire to deal with it. Hearing this, turned her head and ran towards the door. The three also took up their positions and headed towards the vegetable lady separately. Zhang Da threw a punch at the paper man, but was dodged. The paper man suddenly rushed towards the thornhead. Saito couldn't react in time while being punched away. The paper man rushed towards the old smoker. The old smoker knew he couldn't avoid it, so he braced himself to take the punch. Fortunately, Hong Yatu arrived in time and blocked the paper fist with a stick. The paper man's hand was set on fire. He tore off the entire arm, taking advantage of this gap, and kicked down Kai Grandma with a kick. Seeing that Liao Yanhu was going to kill Kai's mother and wanted to help, but Hong disagreed. She swung the torch and rushed up again. The paper man dodged and floated behind the red girl and was ready to finish it quickly. Just as he was about to succeed, Ci2 threw a burning stick, which burned his other arm. While the paper man was stunned, Hong girl swung the fire stick, cutting a big hole in his waist. Jiren chirped. Seeing the paper man gone, the old lady cried, "Wula wula." She had always treated the paper man as her child, and he had developed a bond with it. Liao Yanhu didn't put up with him. He raised his fist to hit him. Madame Kai raised her hand. A paper tiger flew out of her sleeve. The tiger grew bigger in the wind, but when it pounced on the smoker, it turned into a real tiger. The old smoker rolled backwards and almost fell into the tiger's mouth. Hong girl picked up the fire stick and stabbed it, but the tiger twisted its butt and slapped him in the face with its tail. Situ didn't dare to get close and threw out all the fire sticks in his hand, but it dodged them. The tiger leapt into the air and pounced on everyone, but was splashed with water in midair. Looking back, Zhang Da went to the backyard to get gasoline. Hong Yatu threw the stick at the tiger. The tiger was ignited and rushed out of the window screaming. After dealing with the tiger, the three of them surrounded the old woman at the same time. The old woman struggled for a long time, but the ice heart on her forehead struggled to the ground, rolling under Hong Ye's feet. Hong Yatu stepped on it and broke it into pieces. "I let you heal your grandma's leg." Granny Kai knew she couldn't live anymore and wanted to take a few more people with her. But as soon as she started, half of her body caught fire. Situ sighed that it was no wonder he lived so long, because he had turned himself into a paper man. The old woman used her last strength and released all the finger dragons and phoenixes in her sleeves. As soon as they came out of her sleeves, they became real. But they were also ignited by the fire on the old woman. Those things didn't attack the crowd. They broke through the roof and flew into the sky, but they all burned to ashes in midair. The wife poured a bucket of water to put out the fire, complaining that she didn't even let him die in peace, and also made a big hole in the roof. Hong's life was saved, but the roof was gone. C2 let the old smoker's family live in the county, and also used this opportunity to save someone.